Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. I actually wasn't planning on doing this, but here we are. It's Speed versus Bisu. They played twice on Minstrel. I have to. I literally have to. I am compelled to do this. He's gone. The last couple of TVPs we've seen from Speed, he has gone for Cloaked Wraiths as a harassment tool against Protoss. Both times looked somewhat promising. Hasn't won in games that I've seen yet, or probably you've seen yet. But let's see. Let's see. He's against Bisu here in the bottom right. Same map. And this game was played after the other one. So the Wraiths have to be something that Bisu's considering could occur. Probably less likely that Speed would do it again. But there is a world in which he's saying, no, I'm just practicing this right now, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter if he knows or not. In fact, sometimes it's better for your opponent to know the type of thing you're doing. Like, there's different things to practice, right? If you're trying to make a one-off build, then you definitely want lots of information on what someone might do the first time they see it. But if you're practicing a build that you think might have potential as a real thing that you rotate in somewhat regularly, then it's actually important for your opponent to kind of know about it, because winning through surprise factor is not something that will be useful as you use it multiple times. So Bisu comes up with the probe rather quickly once again, wants to get that offensive gas. Always strong. There's not a reason to not do this. I'm always shocked if a Protoss does not offensive gas on two-player maps. It just dictates so much. And of course, Terrans have gotten much better against it. It used to be that you just got really far ahead. I actually remember the first times people started doing this way back, and it was like, wait, what? And then they'd just go range goons, and I was like, what is going on here? This is crazy. And definitely did not like it. I actually was a big fan when StarCraft 2 came out of the fact they put 2 geysers into every base so that you could no longer offensive gas. I'm like, see, they know how stupid this is, how broken this is. Which is funny, because then there was a build where you would actually send... HeyPro made a build where you sent 2 drones across the map on the smallest map, Steps of War, and stole both gases. I started using that on the ladder in StarCraft 2. It was so funny. It was so stupid. Obviously, nothing like that exists now. Anyway, I digress. Bisu is getting a really quick nexus here with a zealot pressure and the offensive gas. In the previous match between these two, Speed very quickly made a bunker down here. This is something you can do if they come for a quick offensive gas and you think they're making a zealot to follow, which they almost every single time do. If as soon as this is done, you go ahead and send your first Marine and an SCV down here and build that bunker, you can have a place of defense against the incoming zealots, and it can sometimes allow you to get a quicker command center. Now, because he did not do that, you can see his command center is a little bit later. See, this is a little over a third the way done as he starts his. But that's okay. It's like these are small details that we're looking at. But you do make these extra Marines, and realistically, if your opponent is still making zealots, you are going to need to make a bunker. See, he has his SCV alive, so he's actually checking for that. Because Bisu is like trying to run up this tech tree super quick. He actually skipped the second zealot. This started after all this stuff. So he's getting like the Nexus and the Pylon and the Cybernetics Core and then a second zealot. And a lesser player would have started a bunker right away here, but Speed is... He's actually overmade the Marines a lot. He has the right amount that if your opponent makes 3 zealots and tries to run by, you'll actually punish them. And we'll see if he's able to utilize these, because I think part of the thing is when you overmake these Marines, you really want to try to get them to do something. So you're more likely to do like a tank Marine push. You know, the Marines just kind of buffering for the tank a little bit. They do have some use. We've seen some people try to like put a anti-Reaver bunker in the main base. That was actually pretty popular on Eclipse for a little bit as a way to utilize those Marines still. Yeah, you can just kind of use them with your army as a move out to stop shuttles from floating over you while you set up turrets and stuff. You know, there's a few different options, but generally they just don't scale well. So it's like, I have 6. What do I do with those? So looking back at Bisu's base, Dragoon range after the robotics, still just the 1 gate. 3 factories coming up. And this is something you can do if you ever get that SCV in and see the Robo. The 3 factory was popular. I've seen it a couple times lately, so it seems like people are trying to use it still here. Generally, you're going to go up to 2 or 3 tanks and just like mass vultures out of them to follow up and try to do a push. It's tricky against Reaver. So I think I talked about this in a Minstrel TVP that was on the channel a bit ago. Maybe it was like a week or 2 weeks ago. I don't remember exactly. I was going to say, so stop me if you've heard this, but you can't. So you're going to have to hear it again. Or you can mute with Control W, of course. But basically, if you look at these 2 builds running into each other, what you actually want as Terran, in my opinion, is for the shuttle to be on its way to your base, like somewhere like here, as you're like here, and then the shuttle's going up here and you send your whole army, because the 3 factory army will smash whatever gateway units are left, and the Reaver can do a lot of damage and is really hard to clear, but you can do things like just split all your SCVs and let them sit, and you're actually going to be dealing damage more quickly than your opponent at that point. Whereas sometimes if you hit very quickly with a push like this is another way to do it, where you come up and you put so much pressure on they have to defend with the Reaver, and then that gives you time to set up missile turrets so that the Reaver can't hurt you. So that's another way to do it, but then your push is not very likely to get damage. So right now, he kind of flanked this Dragoon a little bit with the mines. And you can see really good micro here from Bisu. Picking off quite a few mines. He brings the Zealot forward. It's only a single siege tanks. Oh! That was actually pretty surprising. That mine, that was like full range of the mine there. But the Dragoons get microed back. He's got to be really careful here not to run into any more mines. And he needs to target this down. Hasn't been able to get that siege tank yet. Okay, this is actually pretty good with the probes. And his flanking Dragoon will kill that as well. So he loses a few workers. And he's actually hidden the fact that he's going Reaver this whole time. He does end up cleaning that up. And he is still up workers here as well. Looking back at Speed's base. Missile turret, missile turret, missile turret. Very good. Mostly vultures being made. He's reduced the Dragoon count enough that making an extra round of vultures is actually very, very strong. I think he saw this moving out. Probably wants to make a Goliath. Yep. Goliath, tank, second add-on. Perfect stuff. Perfect stuff. You definitely need a tank to make sure that you can deal enough damage to anything coming out of the shuttle. The Goliath is always super, super helpful. He's laying some defensive mines here as well. Ooh, it actually hits. He was trying to do the pickup trick where you negate all the splash damage there from the mine, but it still explodes. He actually finds a way into the back where he doesn't have a turret still, and he will detonate that immediately. That's exactly how you do it. Targets down some SCVs here as well. That shuttle speed really helping out. Wow, very good micro here from Bisu thus far. And he's going to just get out. That was very clean. That was expertly done. Really, really good. And look at this. Bisu's up 9 workers right now. Third Nexus right there. It's 4 factories for speed, which is excellent for taking a third base currently in the metagame. Doesn't have a good standing army, really. Still running around with the vultures a little bit, so you never know. Like, he picks off a probe there. Okay, that's cool. Ooh, gets mine hit. That's surprising. You know, no one's in any sort of danger right now. We're kind of one of these neutral points where you have to decide what your strategy is. Generally, when you hit points like this in StarCraft, this is actually something I've been thinking about very, very much lately. I actually am a big fan of fighting games in general, and I really like about how they talk about certain aspects of the game. I think they do a much better job. Obviously, most of the scene for StarCraft 1 is in Korea, although we have a pretty sizable scene of fans outside. But I really like the way that they talk about different stages of the game, such as neutral. And I feel like positions like this are neutral, where it's like no one can actually attack each other. You can do some light harassment. You can run around with vultures. You can bring these Reavers up here, try to pick off a unit, but no one can attack each other. So you're kind of in a state of neutral here, where it's like, okay, what do we do if no one can attack anyone? And generally expanding is the right choice. But there are situations where you might say, oh, I'm having a power spike coming up if I hit my macro just right and just keep making units. That is what it looks like Speed is doing. But I would have preferred to see a command center go down there personally, because I don't think that adding this 5th factory late and then the 6th factory even later, I don't think that's going to make the difference. You know, it's like when you start a factory, it's a minute and 10 seconds before you'll have a vulture out of it. And it's like, okay, well, that one vulture in a minute, 10 seconds, is that going to make the difference? Or is it going to be the 2 vultures in a minute and 30 seconds? You know? So I look at this, I'm like, oh, I would have preferred to see him just throw down a command center. But right now, you know, there are other things that are going on. The fact that he hasn't taken this base and Bisu is doing some consistent scouting, you know, he has stuff all over the place. He's checking. This makes it so Bisu does sit on 3 base. Like, he does not dare take a 4th base until either he hits a critical mass or, you know, Speed decides to slow it down. Oh! I didn't think he was going to get that. Wow, that was 2 Reavers. That was 2 Reavers in that shuttle. Damn. Okay. Brings the DT up, clears that really, really fast. Thing is, Zealot legs are almost done. He's got another DT in here. Gonna push that back. Oh, does he not have a scan? It feels like he doesn't have a scan the way he's running from this. Okay, there you go. Scan goes down. I'd go back and check the comm sets, but I think this is gonna... We're gonna have a big engage here in just a matter of seconds. All right, comes forward with Dragoons first. Zealots coming up on the flank. Wow, picks off that shuttle very quickly. The Goliaths have done a fantastic job so far this game. Throws out some more, size storming these siege tanks. You know, he's utilizing the bridge well. I just don't think that this is gonna work. Like, this shouldn't work. I was talking about it before where it's like, yeah, he's just not gonna gain enough value out of these 2. So, okay, well, that was a little bit sloppy there from Bisu. Leading over the bridge with some Dragoons there. Probably not the best play. You know, very easy for Terran to hold a bridge like this for quite some time. Bisu taking another Nexus down here. Still hasn't taken that, but that makes sense since if Speed is holding here, he can very quickly rotate down and kill this base. So you don't... Like, this base, if you have map control, really great. If you don't, much harder to justify. And you can see Speed coming over here and setting up. This is a position we saw him set up against Bisu before as well. This is really interesting. I haven't seen anyone actually play the map like this. I've seen people play further back. And just kind of like use siege tanks here to hold off. But like using this as a focal point of defense kind of opens up this. Makes it harder for Protoss to stand in an area like this and prevent coming over the bridge. Kind of like it. It's really interesting. Sorry, I'm zooming out so much here. I'm trying to get in everything that's happening. Starport coming up, so we should see the science facility shortly thereafter. As far as Bisu goes, you know, this 4th base is really important that he gets it mining quickly at this point. Like, you want to stay a full base ahead of Terran no matter what. Rotating up to his 3rd base. He's definitely got pretty healthy supply, 165 to 142. Speed is so good at keeping his supply high at this point. It almost looks like magic when someone's really good at that. Like, everyone can make, like, 5-6 factories in macro, but he's moving around the map and doing things and picking off units, and never missing a beat on that macro is what it feels like with the supply numbers that he has. All right, so backing up, the Psystorm's really forcing him back. Wow, this pylon actually, the pylon flanking the army in a way. Runs these vultures by. Needs to save these tanks. He's definitely going to lose one more, but I think he'll save the rest. Ooh! So close. Oh, he actually lets this one go back to take a few more hits there. All right, drops the Reaver out. Ooh, that's a great Scarab right there. Fantastic Scarab. Bisu coming forward, trying to break some more tanks. Ooh, can he get one more? No, gets targeted down. Very good targeting there. Psystorm's coming in on top of this as well, but this army is not that big, so it will have to back up. All right, good hold there from Speed. In the meantime, his vultures did run by. Remember, we saw this down there at the beginning of that push, and actually intercepts a bunch of probes that were coming down. A lot of probe losses here for Bisu. He has a lot of nexuses now, but not really mining. 2 probes there. Nothing here yet. Yeah, okay, that's okay. A new nexus up here. He's only on 56 workers. It's not that fantastic. Of course, Speed right now needs another base, and he starts it, I guess, right as I'm talking about that. Because you can see the minerals are getting low. You need to make sure you have at least 2 mining bases. Yeah, ever dropping to 1 mining base. Like, you'll see plenty of Terran versus Protoss and Protoss versus Zerg are lost like that. You just can't get into that type of position. So, I don't know what those 2 tanks are doing. They're being pulled back. Bisu rotating through. The fact that Speed is still denying this base down here is shocking to me. These Vultures have been down here for like 2-3 minutes. And Bisu just, he's finally truly clearing this out. What a funny looking game. Like, it feels like Bisu's being pulled around the map a lot by Speed here. Like, Speed is kind of taking positions that don't necessarily look super great. Like, I understand why he's taking this. He's taking this to defend this and threaten a push here. And this is forcing Bisu to keep an army here. If Bisu rotated this army around to the bottom to attack up into here, Speed could very quickly kill this Nexus and possibly even counterattack over the bridge. This is why Minstrel's such a cool map. There's just like a lot of choices to be made and a lot of ways to switch your lanes, but not too quickly. And there's ways to intercept lanes, unlike on Eclipse. So right now, as Speed switches from being here, he's switching to being down here to try to hit this base. So now you see Bisu pulling everything back and around to the bottom. He has got to stop this from occurring. He actually has no anti-air here, so this is going to be deadly. Dropping out the Psy Storms, he's going to smash siege tanks here. Really, really good. Yeah, Speed going a little bit too quickly down here without any anti-air in place. Okay, setting up some mines, brings his Goliaths as well. A lot of Zealots getting on top of everything. Ooh, big mine hit. Actually hurts Speed as much as Bisu there. Wow. All right, so Speed will end up holding, I believe, well, definitely this base. I think he can save this if he just sends stuff down right away. But Bisu has like a lot of mining going on. He has a very big economy at the moment. So I definitely feel like Speed is on the back foot. He doesn't really have a great army that he can put together at the moment. His supply isn't super low. This does get canceled as well. His supply isn't super low, and he still does have enough stuff out here, like random missile turret, a bunch of mines all over the place, that it's not like he's afraid of where the next attack will come from. This is very straightforward. If Bisu tries to move through any other area, there will be a lot of advanced warning for Speed. I guess there is maybe a path up here where he wouldn't have much advanced warning. But just having that advanced warning allows Speed to kind of put together a better plan from here. Which I think, because he's expanding here, I think he wants all action to happen in this area. If this area can just kind of be left alone and action can happen down here, because like, if he wants to attack up here, he'd have to expand here. Right? You need to kind of attack in front of your expansions or so far away from them, which works more on 4-player maps, not 2-player maps. If you expand like really far away from action, that can work, but on something like this where everything's kind of close, yeah, that's not going to happen. So when he's expanding here, probably Speed's going to want to just bring everything down and maybe do a big entrenched push on this location. He's got a lot of units here. Oh, wow. He's going to go down this lane, but that's going to allow Bisu to counterattack into this area. Very few units left. Yeah, he's going to start clearing these eggs, realizing he needs to rotate a little bit quicker. Definitely smart to do. Oh, might want to siege. Yep. Nice Psy Storm goes down. Lots of damage there. Ooh, Bisu taking a little bit more damage than he probably wanted to there. All right, down goes the Stragoon. Finally, Speed has pulled the trigger on attacking this base. Bisu has a lot of bases, so losing this doesn't necessarily just like end the game or anything like that. I do think he'll end up losing this. This is too cost inefficient for Bisu to try to get in there. Look at this. This move is fantastic. Putting mines into this location, Bisu is like, he's got army up here. He's got army down here. He's getting, like, everything's being surrounded. High Templar's being picked off. He's losing this Nexus. Speed floating down to this base. Dude, Speed is so good right now. He just wiggled around over and over and over. Bisu had 1 million bases. And Speed just, like, this felt like some sort of, like a boxing match or a jiu-jitsu match or something where, like, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's like they're kind of evenish the whole time, and then Speed just finds his way in and is dealing so much damage now. Now, look at this. As the units rotated up here to deal with the mines he laid, he hits down here. Doesn't look like he'll be able to kill this base, but still dictating the flow of this heavily, and reasonably efficient trades there as well. And he's going to flow through here now? Not what I expected to see, but if he can actually lay mines here and prevent reinforcements coming out of the main base, he might be able to just run up and snipe this Nexus super fast, especially with Bisu coming over to kill this base. Just lifts it off, showing the true power of flying buildings. You know, it's a funny thing, like, when you're a noob, you're like, whoa, the buildings can fly, I'll never lose a base. That's generally not how it goes, but in a game like this, you can see the true power of that. He's like, yeah, it's kind of scrappy, you don't have that many anti-air units in there, float this away, I'm going to kill a Nexus, oh my god. Well, it's not the same as missing a drop, right? I missed the fact he was going carriers, but so did Speed. There's been so much action on this map. I can't believe he snuck in 4 Stargate carriers. Oh my god. All right, if Speed loses this, it's the most cathartic game I've ever cast in my whole life. Because I literally had no idea he was going carriers, and it would have been up here. I don't look at production tab, to be honest. This isn't StarCraft 2. I don't know. I don't look at the production tab very often. Normally just to double check what I assume is happening. But didn't look at it this time. I'm as... Well, you're probably not surprised. You guys probably looked at that production tab, didn't you? Let me know in the comments. But anyways, Speed and I are both very surprised. There's a bunch of carriers out of the after the amount of action that we've seen here. And now the carriers are going to be a bit of a problem. Carriers are good on this map, but they're not as good as some other maps. A lot of carrier strength has to do with retreating or switching into lanes that are hard for your opponent to get to. So for instance, on Eclipse, carriers are mega giga broken because, like, let's say you're in the middle lane and the carriers can just go to lane like 1 or lane 3 immediately, and the Goliaths have to walk for 100 years to get there. Here, there's like little places you can kind of slip through to go into these other lanes more quickly. So they're not quite as strong on this map as on some others. Now, Archon's fighting against Goliaths. Yeah, that's a normal battle. You'll see him target his own Nexus here. That was not a mistake. That was to get his interceptors out so they could attack more quickly. Better to take some damage here than to take damage here. All right, a lot of Goliaths out here roaming. Psystorm, of course, the natural predator of these Goliaths. So are Dragoons. He's going to run up, try to snipe some of these carriers, having a hard time of it. The thing is, he really actually needs one more base. Like, when you're playing against this many carriers, you actually need to have, like, basically a bigger economy than Protoss, and then you still might lose. Because the carriers themselves, this is the most cost-efficient thing that there is, other than, like, this just outscales everything. Carriers outscale everything except for a Defiler. Their damage gets insane. They're really hard to kill. Their range is ridiculous. They have the highest base armor in the game. I like to call them a floating base. Because it's like, yeah, as long as you can buy the interceptors, it's like it almost doesn't even matter that you're not mining, because you're making interceptors and killing things non-stop and gaining value. So right now, he's got a lot of Goliaths in the center. Don't forget, 3-2 upgrades. Let's just take a look at these upgrades. 2-1-1. So that's good upgrades. It's really good upgrades for carriers. Just the fact that he even has an air armor is very nice. A lot of times in some of these closer games, you just don't end up getting any air armor upgrades. All right, brings up these tanks to siege this base. Obviously, he's going to be able to kill a bunch of these ground units as well. Walking through those Psystorms, absolutely brutal. He has a carrier for every Goliath that's fighting him right now, so he definitely can take this out, but you do have to be careful. The Goliaths, if they get up close with +3 attack, can pick off a carrier pretty quickly, But he should be able to clear this, I think. Yep, picks one off. More Goliaths coming. Really quick rally here. Very nice force speed in that regard. The ground units here against that many tanks are not going to be useful unless you get a much bigger army. Trying to pick off as many of those Goliaths as possible. What a ridiculous game that we have here. Another carrier gets picked off. Down to 5 carriers. This is getting manageable. This is getting really manageable. Now, speed is not going to have that much more mining left. You see this command center is being pushed away. This is a great move from Bisu. That little move. Like, if this just lands and starts mining, speed probably wins the game. Because he's got the carrier count a lot lower. You see Bisu, he's mining here. And that's about it. But with well, that's a very nice next skill. With him basically getting rid of that command center. Wow, he killed it? Oh my god. With him getting rid of that command center, it's like, well, speed needs more minerals. He's very low on his mining at the moment. This is going to run out. The gas is not an issue. He's got 1,500 gas banks, so he's going to be fine on that. But he just needs to flow out more units. And at this point in the game, you're always going to see a lot of High Templars coming out for Protoss. Protoss in this matchup doesn't really end up spending all their gas basically ever. So endgame has more Archons in it, has more High Templars in it. Just because it's like, well, we spend what we have at this point. Interceptors and High Templars are basically the prime things that he wants to make. Now, speed rotating down to sieges is really good. He should keep the tanks at close to full range. Like, you don't want to put them too close. You want to just barely be hitting the Nexus because you don't want to get close to where he can Psystorm you easily. So very good placement on those tanks. Bisu resetting up this Nexus now. This one is not going to be saved. No way, no how. Ooh, what a snipe. What a snipe. One misclick in there, but he gets the carrier anyways. So we're down to 4 carriers. 4 carriers is very dealable with. Archon Zealot preventing this base from mining. Again, these are the important moves from Bisu at this point. There's been so much damage on both sides. But keeping speed off of additional bases. If he can get him down to just this base, his units are just not very refillable at that point. And there's going to be more High Templars still sneaking their way out. Look, like his production tab, 3 goons, 3 High Templars. It's going to be looking similar to that over and over. Just lots of High Templars. We might see him make an Archon or 2 in there as well. By the way, you'll notice there's no add-on and he's not making Science Vessels for EMP because it's not good against carriers. I need to let people know. It's so hard to actually hit the carriers. Obviously, EMP is a great spell and you want to use it, but it's very, very expensive. Now, the carriers coming forward. He's trying to battle. We're getting to endgame right here. Like, he really wants to save this Nexus. He's making a stand. The siege tanks, though, are killing a lot of these High Templars that he needs storms on the Goliaths with. Look, he'll target... Oh, I'm surprised... Yeah, there you go. See, he targeted the High Templar. That's the important thing. The storm is what really destroys. It helps you to kill off those Goliaths. Now, he gets rid of the siege tanks. He has some more units here. He's going to have another storm. But targeting down the carriers. Only 3 carriers remain. More coming in right now. Honestly, the Archon and Zealots are doing such a good job here putting extra damage onto these Goliaths. You know, the Goliaths are trying to attack Interceptors and taking massive, massive damage from these ground units. The couple siege tanks obviously helping a bit. Bisu's very close to out of units. Yeah, I think he actually has to give this Nexus up, which hurts, but like you may as well run the probes. Because those are just going to die in half a second. Yeah, okay, so he does run the probes. He doesn't lose them. Here we go. If he can clear this army, maybe he can counter... Oh, the target on the 2 High Templars at once. Really, really good. Splash damage taking them out. Decent Psystorm goes down. The 2 siege tanks just splattering. Okay, pushes those back. Still some more units being made. Yeah, it seems like Speed has enough now. That's crazy. What a victory. And he actually lands a command center in the center of the map. In the meantime, Bisu just needs this base mining, so it's understandable why he's not like attacking many other locations right now. He's kind of bringing his entire army together to try to hold on. All right, another good storm, but this should be just about it. He's got enough to finish this off. Bisu going to lose his last carrier. That was a fantastic game. Hope that you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.